You know I'm right. Episode 26 right here on the WG Sports Radio Network. Nick Durst, of course, with my co-host Joe Calabrese. Baseball is back, Joe, but we're not going to talk about what's going on in the field today. We're going to do a totally different type of show. It's going to be a fun one, Joe. And we're bringing in two very special guests today that are going to really take this show to the next level, or so we think. So no pressure on them. But they are the hosts, the co-hosts of the Talk of the Islands podcast, and that is Allie Phillips and Carson Perry. Carson and Allie, welcome to the program. How are you both doing?
Thank you. Thanks for having us. I'm doing good.
All right.
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. And Joe, how are you doing? Haven't heard from you yet, which is a rare start to the podcast.
I'm doing great. I'm juggling this, and I got the Yankees on to the side of me. So
I was gonna say, why are you doing this while the Yankee game is on?
As you can see, I'm supporting.
Joe's very dedicated to the podcast, which is what we like to see. But obviously,
there's a lot of Mets love. I figure we're gonna need some Yankees love tonight. You know, a little different.
Yeah. Well, baseball's back, and we got to get right into our baseball talk here. And we are going to start with Joe on this one. We want to know, and the question's going to go to everybody, if you were a baseball player and you know in baseball, you walk up to the plate, you have an entrance music song coming on.
I love this question.
That's a really good question.
In honor of Taylor Swift's new album, which has come out, Joe, what would be your walk-up song, and why are you picking that song?
Okay, so we're going to start this off with a revelation or a confession. I have been known to hate on Taylor Swift for a long time, ever since the Kanye incident happened. Obviously, I love Kanye West. But for the purposes of this podcast and for keeping the peace, and because I've known Allie for a long time and she's a really good friend, I've known Nick for a while, he's a really good friend too.
But you've known me longer.
The first time. I am going to put my previous biases aside and come into this with an open mind. That said, if I was a baseball player and I was walking up and it had to be a Taylor Swift song, the answer is obvious. It's I Knew You Were Trouble when you walked in. And in this case, you walk into the batter's box. Get it? Duh.
I do get it.
That's good.
So I think that would be good. And I think the crowd doing the little like, oh, thing like in the background, that would really work. I think a lot of people would be really, really, really happy to hear from that. So
that's obviously a really great choice there, and makes a lot of sense. My pick would be Ready for It, because you got to just make
sure. That was gonna be mine, and I knew that was gonna be Carson's too, but I have a backup.
So I was like, should I ask Allie and Carson first? But then I was like, you know what, let me give mine, because I'm pretty sure that's what they're gonna pick. So that would be my choice, because is the pitcher ready for it? Probably not.
It's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So.
And it also too, it first got released before it was a single or on the album for college football.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really?
It was first released. Yeah, and it was Ohio State game, I think. Yeah, it was like the pre-tape before. I think it was the Ohio State game. I forget who they were playing, but it was like the like the little trailer for the game, and it was her song, and that's how it premiered on Saturday night, like a college football game.
Yeah, and that's how people found the song, and people were like replaying the commercial and like listening to the song. I remember that.
While we're on the topic of Taylor Swift and sports, Allie, why has Taylor Swift not done the Super Bowl halftime show yet? I'm so confused. She'd be the best choice.
That's an easy one, because the Super Bowl is sponsored by Coke, I think, and she's sponsored by Pepsi. Opposite. Okay. Yeah. That's why.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And she doesn't do work with Coke anymore, but there is like a clause for the time that she can work with competitors.
With like contracts and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Clause. That's a good word.
I don't know if that's the right
Clearly your sister's a lawyer.
I don't even know if that's the right term, but we're going to go with it.
Sounds accurate. All right. So, Allie, now that I took your answer, what would be your Taylor Swift walk-up song?
Okay, so it would have to be I Did Something Bad on Reputation, because that's just such a badass Taylor Swift song. It's one of my favorites. I think anything from the Reputation album would probably be good.
Joe, have you heard that song?
Let's not get into this yet.
Should we have Allie sing it to see?
What I'm gonna need Allie to do is to send me a couple of links of some of her favorite songs, and I will start there, and I will have this period of reconciliation and a rebirth, where on the other end of this, I become a what do we call Taylor Swift fans?
A Swiftie.
Swiftie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I will do that. I'll do that.
All right.
Joe, you really never experienced a concert until you've been to a Taylor Swift concert. First off, great thing about going to a Taylor Swift concert as a male, no lines for the bathroom. In and out, no problem. Love that.
I go to the bathroom. When I go to a Taylor Swift concert, I go to the men's bathroom.
Yeah, they change a lot of the men's bathrooms into women's bathrooms at concerts like that.
It makes sense. I mean, it's pretty empty. But also, just, nothing gets you more energetic than hearing a bunch of people screaming, going crazy that really don't sing too well, and it's good times. All right, so Carson, your answer to the Taylor Swift walk-up song.
Yeah, well, you took mine. So if I had a second one, I think it would be Blank Space, just because I get so pumped up when that comes on. It's a jam, and it would get me pumped up, and I would hit some home runs. So that's what I'm going to go with.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Joe, what do you think would be the worst Taylor Swift song to come up to the plate to?
That's a good question. I mean, it would probably be something that's not related, or you can't really twist to relate into sports in any way.
Love Story? Teardrops on my guitar?
It would have to be one of her old songs, like Romeo and Juliet or Love Story.
I have one in my head.
I don't think Love Story would be the worst.
No.
So what would be the worst, Carson?
Soon You'll Get Better from Lover.
Oh, yeah.
That is a heart-wrenching song. It's about her mom being sick. I skipped over that song when it comes on.
That's a really
shuffle.
Really sad song.
Sad song. There's nothing to kill a crowd.
And I gave up a home run, then I'd give the stadium guys the permission to play Shake It Off afterwards. That I think
that would be a good one to come out to.
Oh yeah, too. like a celebration song. He means, I think, right?
Yeah.
No, after you give up a home run, you go shake it off. That's
okay.
What we need more of. We need more positivity.
Okay, got it. That's a great idea.
Joe's full of great ideas, so obviously our listeners know that. But the other thing we got to talk about here is, obviously Joe, he's a very eligible bachelor out in the town. All of our listeners know that. You see him sometimes down in the Jersey Shore. But we got to talk about athletes here, and I'm going to start with Joe. So Joe, if you were going to be on the Bachelorette and you could pick any athlete to be the Bachelorette, who would you pick? So who would you be going on the show, dealing with all the drama and trying to date as an athlete?
All right. So we were kind of talking about this before I was brainstorming my answer. The number one answer that I would give, now I don't know if Allie or Carson have ever heard of her, but she is a hockey player. Her name is Hillary Knight. She's played on the United States national team, and when the Olympics have gone on and the women's team have been featured in games and stuff, she's been like the prominent player featured, and she is super sweet. I've never had the pleasure of meeting her before. She's never come around to Caucus, but she's very pretty. She's incredibly talented. She's the very first name that comes to mind. And I was also telling Nick before that if you would have asked me this question a couple years ago, I would have probably said Alex Morgan. But now, since then, Alex Morgan is, I believe, married now and has a child on the way. If not, has given birth. I honestly don't know. I remember she was pregnant. But yeah, so if we could go back in time, we had a time machine to do this, I would definitely pick Alex Morgan. But if not, then I would choose Hillary Knight.
Want to know a really fun fact? So at the 1989 tour, which is, you don't know this, but it's the Taylor Swift concert a couple summers ago. Taylor, the girls had just won the World Cup or whatever it is. I'm sorry, I really don't know things.
That's the World Cup.
Yeah. And Taylor Swift brought out Alex Morgan onto the stage. So I saw Taylor Swift on stage with Alex Morgan with my own two eyes.
So what do you think? You think Joe and Alex Morgan would make a good couple circa 2018?
No. Because Joe doesn't like Taylor Swift. So no.
Wow, I got an eye real quick.
All right, so Carson, if you were going to go on The Bachelor and you got to pick which athlete is going to be The Bachelor, who would you want to go on there? Jared Goff.
100% Jared Goff. I'm in love with Jared Goff. Easy answer.
That's not a bad answer.
That's a great answer.
He's like Ryan Gosling.
Exactly. He's beautiful. He's like California purebred. He's like a gentleman. He has no drama behind him. He's a good quarterback. He's young. He makes bank. 100% Jared Goff.
What do you think, Joe? Good choice there?
Answer. Making bank? Yeah, it's a great answer. Wouldn't you want somebody who had a lot of money?
All right, Allie. Allie, who are you picking?
So I'm gonna go with Julian Edelman.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Even though I know he's married or has a kid.
He has a kid.
That's my man.
That's your man.
Why are you guys saying boo?
Joe's saying boo, not me.
The Jets fan.
Yeah, but you can like Julian Edelman.
Miserable Jets fan who has been tortured by Julian Edelman through the years. And the catch that he made in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago against the Falcons.
Yeah, that really low one, right?
Yeah, that was like twisting the knife in the wound. That was like.
He makes merch with that picture on it. I was this close to buying it.
I think that's a great choice by Allie.
Carson, do you think if Allie went on The Bachelor that there'd be a great chance she makes it to the end, loses, and gets picked to be the Bachelorette?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance of that. I think me and Allie are similar. Like, we talk about being on The Bachelor a lot, I feel like. Yeah. We would be a good, like, personality for it. Would we be the winner? Maybe not. Would we be good TV? 100%. So let's just continue that to the next season and make her the Bachelorette, and people will watch that.
I mean, I think it's about time a Staten Island girl was the Bachelorette. Like, it has yet to happen, I think.
It's got to be BB Rexa then, right?
She's already famous. She doesn't need the Bachelorette, but I mean, I think I would make it to the Bachelorette just because I'm from Staten Island. Like, Pete Davidson is famous because he's from Staten Island, you know?
So, Joe, do you remember Jesse Palmer was the second Bachelor? And that really jolted his career. He went from a no-name backup quarterback. Originally, Chris Sims was offered the role. John Gruden told him, don't do it. And then Jesse Palmer did it, and actually really helped his career because the guy's all over television now, and he's become a top college football analyst. But you see him all over. But you know who you also see all over, Joe? That is our guy, Alex Rodriguez, and his soon-to-be wife, Jennifer Lopez. And, of course, we've been tracking this story nonstop on the You Know or My podcast, and that is that they are trying to buy the New York Mets. Mm-hmm. So we will start with Allie here. I know Allie's not the hugest baseball fan, but if that happened, would you then consider yourself a Mets fan, or at least have any interest in paying attention to what's going on in baseball if Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez became owners of the New York Mets?
Well, for starters, I love J-Lo and A-Rod. They're my favorite celebrity couple. So would I be a Mets fan? No, but would I maybe pay closer attention? Would I maybe go to a Mets game? Yes. Would I wear a Mets jersey? No. I'm a Yankees fan. There's no.
What if it said J-Lo on the back? And she did a concert at Citi Field, and they were giving away J-Lo jerseys when you entered.
Then yeah, because I mean, I like the Yankees, but I'm not like a diehard baseball fan. I just like the Yankees more than I like the Mets. But I mean, it's A-Rod. Is he going to consider himself a Yankees fan? Like, what does he do in that situation? You know,
he's a Mets fan.
I mean, a Mets fan. I mean,
A-Rod actually grew up a Mets fan, so I think he'd be pretty happy with that. Their whole idea is to really build the arena. I mean, take over the stadium and build up the area so it becomes similar to the Barclays Center, where it's a hot spot for concerts and whatnot. So I think that's a really strong business idea, and there'll be a bunch of celebrities sitting in the front row, similar to you see at basketball games with the Knicks, who are terrible, but there's always celebrities there. Carson, I don't know where your baseball allegiance stands, but what would your thoughts be on this scenario?
So I'm a Yankees fan. I like J-Lo, but I'm not as big of a J-Lo fan as Allie is. I do go to Mets games just because coming from Long Island, it's an easier travel to get to. And a lot of my friends are Mets fans, so like we'll just go to that. It's way easier to get there than to the Bronx. I don't think that would sway me to be an owner. Like, since they're the owner of it, it wouldn't sway me to be a fan of them or go to the games more, because it's not like you're sitting next to them. They're going to be in the owner's box if they're even there. So it's not like a direct correlation to what I'd be a fan of.
All right, and Joe, it looks like your guy Steve Cohen's going to end up buying the Mets anyway, but do you think it's smart for him to maybe bring A-Rod and J-Lo into the mix in some factor?
Absolutely. I think at this point, A-Rod and J-Lo have been connected with the Mets for so long. I think in terms of public relations and relating to the fans, and I do think that the overall like fan base of the Mets kind of skews younger, and it kind of skews with those demographics that are fans of like J-Lo and A-Rod. I think for their brand, if they want to truthfully make themselves like the it couple and like the couple of New York, which is I ultimately think what the goal is, then I think Cohen would be smart if he brought them on. Mm-hmm. Now, I think the A-Rod and J-Lo team to buy the Mets is, as it stands, we talked about this on a previous podcast, it's still a group of like former athletes, right? So a lot of those athletes come from elsewhere. They don't necessarily have a direct connection to New York, right? Both J-Lo and A-Rod are true New Yorkers, through and through, true blue blood New Yorkers. They care about this city. They care about the local communities that they came from. Most notably, obviously, A-Rod came from, you know, a single mother household, and he played baseball to really make something of himself and to get out of that situation. So nobody understands New York from a celebrity perspective, and like from a prominent person perspective that we know of. Nobody knows New York really better than those two, right? So I think from a branding perspective, it would be amazing for the Mets, and there's a lot of potential that can come from it. And again, you know, you could do J-Lo concerts, you could do special merchandise giveaways, you could do special concert nights. Maybe J-Lo wants to come and do a brief little 3 or 4 song set after Mets games, and they do like a fireworks show during the summer. It's a lot of ideas that you can basically derive if they're involved, which they should.
If you look at Madison Square Garden, Billy Joel is one of their franchises. So they have the Rangers, the Knicks, and Billy Joel. That's their home team. So something like that could happen. But like you mentioned, A-Rod and J-Lo are definitely an it couple. So let's talk about some other it power couples.
I have one thing to say really quick before we go.
Ahead.
I agree with you too, because when you were saying how it is a good publicity standpoint for them to be the owners, also like when you think of like a casual sports fan, say Mark Cuban in the Mavs, like that's one name who's a celebrity more or less from Shark Tank, and more people pay attention to that. A casual sports fan pay more attention to what he's doing with his team rather than what his financial advisor is doing with, say, like another like basketball team, you know what I mean? Or even Jerry Jones in the sense too, now he's more of a celebrity than he really is an ownership, and people, a casual football fan, are paying more attention to what Jerry Jones is doing with the team, and they might not know the name of somebody else who's owning another football franchise. So I think just having their name attached to it will get more people more aware of the sport and of the team.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. Allie, I'm sure your favorite baseball player used to be Derek Jeter. I'm sure most Staten Island girls like Derek Jeter growing up. And Joe, he's been like the worst owner in baseball with the Miami Marlins so far.
Well, his situation, I think, is similar to, maybe not exactly, entirely, but I think his situation right now is very similar to the one that we see with A-Rod and J-Lo, just trying to scrap as many people as they can. He tried to scrap as much money as possible. We haven't really seen baseball financially work in South Florida.
Yeah, Florida is not the best spot for baseball.
How can we make it work? And yeah. So I mean,
it's crazy
he hasn't had a good start yet.
Post MLB playing careers, A-Rod and Derek Jeter were in opposite directions. Jeter was like on this high pedestal. A-Rod was like a disgraced person. And now it's like totally different. And it's just interesting, Joe, how public relations can really do you wonders depending on who you have in your corner.
Yeah, it's the truth. It really is the truth. When they were playing, A-Rod was this person who was always getting into trouble. He was always flirting, right? How many times him with like Madonna, or I think it was Kate Hudson at the time, and because it was A-Rod
Corey
was like his
Wilson.
head wasn't in the game or anything, and Derek Jeter ran around dating and going out with as many celebrities as he could, and he just did two entirely different reputations. And while I don't think Jeter is like tarnished in any way, I think since they both retired, I agree with you 100%. I think a lot of people have taken more of a liking to A-Rod. Maybe they gravitate to him because he tells the truth a lot. Sarcasm. But he's more real, I think, and he's more in the public sphere than Jeter is, who kind of likes to stay in the shadows, always did. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I agree with your point on his reign so far as Marlins owner hasn't really been too great. But I think that you have to evaluate that over the course of.
I think being tied to Jennifer Lopez really can't do you any harm. So I think publicly, that's definitely helped him. They're an it power couple. So let's go around here and talk about some other sports power it couples, like the people we think are just like an awesome, couple here, and we're like, wow, I can't believe these two are together. So we will start with Allie.
It has to be a sports couple.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be two athletes. It could be an athlete and a non-athlete.
I can't think. Go to Carson first, because she knows.
All right, Carson.
Okay, I have one. I love Ciara and Russell Wilson.
Ooh.
Love them.
That was mine. Wow.
Oh, was it?
Damn. Yeah,
I love them.
That was mine.
Oh, I know mine.
Because they're good, because I feel like they have good social fronts where they are up to date with all things social. They're making little dance videos. They both have good reputations. Like Russell Wilson's like the nice guy, the nice quarterback of the league. They have a beautiful family where he accepted her other child that she had with, what was it, Future or whoever that rapper was that she had it with. They just have a beautiful family and like post these beautiful things. And like, for me, they like do it for me. I love them.
That's a good one. I thought you were going to say Gronk and Camille.
Oh, that is a good one too, but they're not as like powerful as Russell Wilson and Ciara. I love them. You should do that one. That's a good one.
No, so I remembered who mine was, even though Eric Decker is now retired, but it's still Eric Decker.
Still a sports couple.
James.
There you go.
Yeah, but they are a sport.
They are a sports couple.
They are a sports couple.
Yeah, as far as like,
relationship goals.
As far as Gronk goes, back when I was working at Bleacher Report, they were going to do like a shoot with Gronk, and they're like, "Oh, we want to bring you along because we both had buzzed heads. They said our faces looked the same." I don't know where that came from, but I did actually meet his girlfriend last year. She came to my office. Everyone was freaking out, but I was just unfazed, and I just walked by her, and it's just another celebrity. Doesn't really.
I love her.
You're never fazed by anything.
I don't know. I don't know what would faze me. I mean, we worked at MLB Network, me and Joe, and we met all these athletes. And I guess when I met the Mad Dog, that was a little great. But I don't know. I don't think there's any athlete that really fazed me. But Joe, what would your power couple be?
So Carson took my first answer, which was Russell Wilson and Ciara, and I think they have a really, really tremendous presence on like social media and when they're dealing with the media and when they're on camera and stuff, which is why they're the first ones that come to my mind. If I had to give another one, my other one would be Carrie Underwood and Mike Fisher.
That's a good one too.
Both on Instagram and I'm a hockey guy, right? So I remember a couple of years ago, right after I started with the NHL, I remember we had this discussion, and Fisher and Carrie Underwood were basically like everybody's favorite couple, right? So that's to be expected when you work in that type of environment. They have really cute kids together. They're always supporting one another. His Instagram posts are usually related directly to her, right? And their kids and their family. And they just seem like a really, really like two really, really just down to earth people you would want to meet in like a social setting, like running into a restaurant or bar and seeing them or something. So yeah, but besides Russ and Ciara, it would be Mike Fisher and Carrie Underwood.
Joe, I'm a little surprised you didn't say PK Subban and Lindsey.
I thought about that, but I don't know because they haven't really been together nearly as long. So I would have to see if they're for the long haul, if they have the staying power. Carrie and Mike have been married for more than a few years now. So
I'm surprised nobody said Mia Hamm and Nomar Garciaparra or Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union.
Gabrielle Union.
Or
That's a good one.
The most obvious one of all, Tom Brady and Giselle.
Yeah.
My mom can actually hear us, and she texted me Tom and Giselle. She's obsessed with Tom Brady.
How crazy is it? Like, Carson, you think about usually an athlete dating anybody. The athlete is usually the one who's making the most money. But what Tom Brady makes in a season, Giselle's probably making in a month. So it's just crazy to think power couple wise. I mean, I don't know. Maybe A-Rod and J-Lo have more money, but I think Tom and Giselle are definitely
because she
up there.
runs the model game and he runs the football game. Like they're the top dog in each of their
at what they do. They own both of their spheres, right?
Yeah,
so they're on top of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another huge power couple, Kate Upton and Justin Verlander.
I thought about that too.
Yeah, I like them,
goofy.
but sometimes they have a little drama. It's like she's mean.
Ooh.
Like she can get mean. Do you remember when they were in the World Series and that one fan had the sign? I forget what the sign said, but she like literally like cursed out the fan and ripped the sign.
Wow.
Do you remember this?
I remember that.
She can get a little mean.
Like a little jealous.
Steph and Aisha Curry. Aisha Curry really
that's a good one
became
too.
a nice
She
star.
become a celebrity.
From basketball.
Forget about her because.
But she was like a she wasn't that well known in herself until their relationship came, and then she had like this cooking and this and that, and they had their own little things. But she wasn't huge on her own before him.
Right.
I'm surprised.
Her career definitely lifted her up and gave her
100%.
Allie, I'm surprised you didn't say Posh Spice and David Beckham as your choice.
That's a good one too.
Victoria and David.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of power couples out there. And David Lee and Caroline Wozniacki, you have them. The other one that I wanted to discuss here because they recently split up, and that would be Aaron Rodgers and Danica Patrick.
Yeah.
So
I didn't really understand that couple when that first happened. I didn't understand it.
I don't know what happened because I thought Aaron Rodgers and Olivia Munn were a really great, happy-go-lucky couple. But I don't know, Joe. It seems like there seems to be a lot of drama coming out of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and for years and years there's been speculation of what's going on behind closed doors when it comes to the Rodgers family. We know he doesn't have the best relationship with his brother.
Was it his brother on The Bachelor?
Jordan, yes.
Jordan was, yes. That's why I brought that up, see?
Yeah. That's how everyone found out about the drama between the family. He doesn't talk to any of his brothers, doesn't talk to his parents, and it all became out because Jordan was on The Bachelor.
I don't know. I think The Bachelor kind of helps people's lives, but it kind of ruins other people's lives.
Well, you said it yourself before. The objective is you want to get on the show. You want to go as far as you can.
And lose.
You want to be the person at the end who doesn't get picked, so they come back next season, and then you make more money. That's the goal of the show.
Yep. Yeah. So it's just interesting it happened to Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers, we know, Green Bay Packer legend. Probably the second best quarterback in franchise history behind Allie's guy, Brett Favre. Allie got a cameo for her father by Brett Favre. And how did that work out for you?
So my dad is a crazy Green Bay fan. Brett Favre has been his favorite player for like ever. So for Father's Day, we found out about the app Cameo, and we were just like looking to see who was on there, and Brett Favre was there. So we were like, okay, this is probably the best gift we could ever get him, like a message from Brett Favre. Like, doesn't matter how much money it is, but we just had to write like a little message to him. And then like 2 days later, he filmed the video, and it was like, it seemed like a pretty like sincere video. Like it felt like he like thought about what he was gonna say, and he's just like such a nice guy. It was really nice.
He's got that Southern charm. Joe, what do you think about Brett Favre's year with the Jets?
He was really, really good until he got hurt. And that team was 8-3 and among one of the best teams in football. And then he started having all the problems, I think it was the shoulder injury, the rotator cuff, I think it was. but they really fell apart that year. But that one year that he was in New York, I remember I was driving with my friend, and we were listening to The Fan that summer, and we were in the car, and I remember getting the breaking news that Favre was going to come to the Jets, and we went absolutely freaking nuts. And at the time, we thought it was going to be one season. We were hoping for maybe 2 or 3. He ended up playing longer beyond that. He ended up playing in Minnesota. But yeah, so listen, it didn't work out. They didn't make the playoffs. But again, he was hurt at the very, very end. I think that was the spark that kind of lit the Jets. And then they had those couple of really good seasons following that when they had Rex Ryan and Sanchez in. But that was the season that put the Jets kind of like back on the map. So I'll always have a special fond place for Favre, even though, again, like we're not Packers fans, just from a Jets perspective. But yeah, I really wish that season. I really wish we could have at least made the playoffs because we were a good team that year.
Carson, what do you think of like the nonstop Brett Favre Wrangler jean commercials that are usually on during the fall during football? Have you ever seen any of those?
I don't think
or
I
the
have.
copper fit arm thing. I mean, it's just targeting marketing. You've seen those, Jeff?
I have. I love those commercials.
It's like the Peyton Manning commercials and the Brett Favre commercials, and then
The Peyton Manning.
He's got personality, and again, it's that Southern charm. He's a very likable dude.
Everyone who listens to our show knows Joe and I are huge wrestling fans. We love WWE, AEW, big fans of it all. So we're gonna have a little fun here, and we're gonna do a little segment of a crossover between WWE and Jersey Shore cast members. So, big Jersey Shore fan. And I think we'll start with Allie on this one, see if she comes up with an answer. And that is, which Jersey Shore cast member would make the best professional wrestler?
I think The Situation.
Situation. Is that, you're talking current day situation or Big Daddy Sitch?
That I kind of want to switch my answer to Paulie D. I'm switching to Paulie D. But
that was going to be probably Joe's answer. Situation would make a great heel.
But
and he shares the Situation shares a birthday with Joe as well. So I think we should 4th of July, America's gift. So Paulie D, why do you say Paulie D? Because the fans will like him?
Because Paulie D can win over a crowd.
Paulie D positivity.
He just has that
with the horn like Jimmy Hart, not the South.
He just has those vibes to him, and when he can do anything. I know it. Crowds love him, and he just he can't be defeated. So that's why I think Paulie D.
All right, Carson, what do you think?
So I'm gonna go with the opposite, not charisma. I'm gonna go rage, and I'm gonna go with Ronnie.
There you go.
Because I feel like he has a little bit of crazy in him.
One shot, kid. One shot, bro.
Yeah.
Come at me,
so
bro.
So he may not win over the fans, but
Ronnie's
a
good
punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
Ronnie
answer.
actually,
even though it's not real, but
did wrestle one match for TNA Impact. He did go down there. He did wrestle, so he does have some background in wrestling.
Okay.
There are some other Jersey Shore cast members who have also wrestled. Snooki had a match at WrestleMania, the granddaddy of them all. She tag teamed with John Morrison and Trish Stratus, and she did a crazy cartwheel flip. No one knew that she was a gymnast background, and it's pretty impressive.
Cheerleader.
And JWoww, who is famous for punching Mike the Situation in season 1 in Atlantic City with that famous backhand, she also was in TNA and made an appearance in a match as well. Joe, who are you going with? I'm assuming Paulie D, but you want to drive that fact home?
I was going to say Paulie D, right, because he's just entirely likable. He could probably create his own theme song, right, to come out to. But I will defend and I will fight for the Situation because he is my brother. We do share the same birthday together. But I will advocate for Situation right now, the one who went to prison and came out, because I think we could turn that into a gimmick. We could turn that into the actual prison Mike, and we could make it goofy, and we can make it kind of a combination of prison Mike from The Office And
yes, I love that. Wow.
That would be my idea. I figured the girls would appreciate it.
I'm going to go with Angelina because every wrestling company needs a good heel manager. And Joe, we've seen it with Vicky Guerrero saying, hello, excuse me. Angelina would just be like, hello. And everyone would start booing. And whoever she's associated with would become a major star that everyone would hate. And on the flip side, I don't know if you all agree with this, but I think the worst Jersey Shore cast member to be a wrestler would be Vinny. He'd be so boring. He would just do nothing.
Yeah.
He'd be the Keto Guido. He'd be on like in 205 Live doing absolutely nothing, Joe. He'd be a jobber.
He'd be so boring.
He'd be a little corny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would really work. I think you need like some extra presence to you. Like, again, Paul's got charisma. Situation's got charisma. Wow's a huge personality. Everybody wants to hate on Angelina. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has something going for them except Vinny. He's just kind of there. So.
Yeah, even Dina would be a better wrestler than Vinny.
Yeah,
I forgot about her.
I think even Sammy would be a better wrestler than Vinny.
Yeah.
She's an athlete. She might have it in her.
Yeah, you never know.
Is she an athlete?
Soccer player, college soccer.
Oh.
You know who would also be a really good wrestler?
Who?
Jen, Ronnie's girlfriend. Because she has been wrestling
she
Ronnie
would be the
for a
best out of all of them.
No holds barred matches.
That girl. She's a psycho.
She is a psycho. So that's going to wrap up our time here. Carson, why don't you tell us about you and Allie's show and where everybody could check that out?
Yeah, so we just started a podcast over quarantine called Talk of the Islands. And basically it's just a hot topic podcast. No real kind of theme there, but it's just pop culture, things that we're going through in life, just kind of the talk of the island, basically. You know, it's like you talk about like, oh, it's a talk of the town. Whatever's popular in that moment, me and Allie are there to discuss.
There you go. Talk of the towns, talk of the islands, Long Island, Staten Island. Great podcast. Check that out. And usually what we do here, Joe, is we let our guests give the last words. But first, I want to see what your thoughts were on this episode, Joe.
I really enjoyed this. I think this was a really great crossover. Congratulations. You two were awesome. And Nick is right. We give our guests the last words. So we'll start with Allie.
Okay, so thank you everyone for watching or listening. This is awesome. And thanks.
All right, Carson.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun with you guys. I thought you guys did a great job combining kind of like our pop culture side of the world to the sports side of the world, and somebody who has their foot in both. I think you guys did a great job. I really enjoyed it. And I think this could be like a great little collaboration we have going on moving forward.
Let's do it again.
Yes, for sure.
Joe, I don't know how much of Allie and Carson's podcast you checked out, but they covered the whole Barstool Call Her Daddy podcast stuff.
Oh, I saw that drama. I did. I am very happy about that. I think they did a good job.
Joe, your cousin was on Barstool recently, though, so
yeah,
we gotta give them a shout out.
Yeah, I know. My cousin went viral for taking a video in front of the Statue of Liberty yesterday. That lucky guy. It's got over 100,000 retweets. He was on every single 11 o'clock news broadcast last night. He was shouted out by every single weather person. So big shout out to Mikey C, my cousin.
Yeah, you can go back a few episodes we had him before he became a viral celebrity on our show.
He has to thank us.
Everything happens here first on the You Know My podcast. So that's going to do it. It's been a great episode 26. For Allie, Carson, and Joe, I am Nick, and this has been You Know I'm Right.